top prop with an expedite scramble. Authentication time is 1906. Scramble.
Arguably the best air superiority fighter available to anyone, anywhere in the world, is the F-15. It might well be thought that this aircraft, epitomizing the state of the art, would be the product of a process of decades of constant refinement of a basic specification. In fact, nothing could be further from the truth, because the Eagle is the answer to the blending together of two very real and concurrent problems, both of which caught the Air Force off guard. Vietnam echoed a message that the Zeros of World War II and the MiG-15s of Korea had already proclaimed, that fighters must be able to fight other fighters. American fighter procurement till that time had provided the Air Force with two sorts of fighter aircraft. Planes that were excellent interceptors, able to cut off and destroy incoming enemy bombers, but not truly capable of taking on enemy fighters in a dogfight. Or planes that were excellent fighter bombers, aircraft that could fly at great speed and carry a very large and versatile weapons load, but again could only take on enemy fighters with the aid of heavy and expensive avionics and missilery. That the United States had to an answer to the MiG was the F-4 Phantom II. But even this superb aircraft was an ill match for the Russian-built planes in a dogfight. It achieved its excellent results through its superior avionics and with the standoff ability supplied by the second crew member with his weapons arrays. In Vietnam, it was the US Air Force's best fighter, with its great speed and the phenomenal lifting power and dependability of two engines. But even this aircraft could not outmaneuver the much lighter and often much older aircraft used by the North Vietnamese. The other alarming problem confronting the Air Force in the mid-60s echoed that presented by the first B-17s in the 1930s, a bomber that could outfly any operationally deployed US fighter. Once again, the plane in question was American. In the mid-50s, the American Strategic Air Command issued a specification for a long-range heavy bomber that could travel comfortably at 2,000 miles per hour. This target was thought to be hypothetical only and not achievable, but nevertheless, it produced one of the most remarkable aircraft of all time, the XB-70 Valkyrie. This brilliant design rose into the air in the early 60s, utilizing almost every scrap of new technology available to the aerospace industry. Its 6 enormous turbojet engines were contained in a wedge-shaped hull below the wing. As well as accommodating the power and the undercarriage, the wedged shape was itself a contributor to the aircraft's potency. At the speed of sound, this shape forced the shockwave outwards from the fuselage, a phenomenon that would have been of little value had not the Valkyrie been equipped with movable wingtips, which, lowered, trapped the shockwave, gaining extra lift and speed. This arrangement sprang from a theory called compression lift, which was found not only to be correct, but also to give the Valkyrie a startling edge over anything else in the air. One of the many beneficial side effects of the XB-70 project was the demand that it made on construction materials, with the challenges of tolerance to heat and stress that came with speeds over 3 times that of sound. In reply to the test, the aerospace industry produced new materials and new ways of forming them, like the honeycomb sandwich, giving lightweight, extreme strength, and, where necessary, flexibility. Remarkable film shows the paint on one of the 2 Valkyrie prototypes flaking, incapable of handling the heat of flight at such high speed. For Russian strategists, the development of this plane must have been an immediate significant threat, in that they had no way of confidently shooting it down, reflecting a shortfall in their missile and fighter capability. By this time, Russia had, of course, perfected long-range anti-aircraft missiles, but with the speed and height of the Valkyrie, it was likely that a dangerous percentage of attacking XB-70s would penetrate the Soviets' air defense and reach their targets. The Russian weapons designers went to work on the problem. As it happened, Valkyrie was cancelled, but clearly Russian fighter designers continued to take its potential into account. In 1968, at the Domodov Air Show in Moscow, the Soviets demonstrated the expected array of military might. But at the end of the show, as a finale, 3 massive jet aircraft appeared and streaked across the sky. The crowd of foreign observers at the display was stunned by the size and apparent performance of the aircraft. Reports sifting back to the Pentagon on the new plane's proportions and size suggested a plane of awesome top speed. For the next few months, nothing more was seen of the plane, which had been given the NATO code name Foxbat. Then, high in the sky over Israel, an Israeli F-4 located an unidentified blip on its radar, and, on climbing higher to investigate it, found it was approaching one of the new Soviet aircraft. In the thin air over 60,000 feet, the Foxbat, seemingly oblivious to the presence of the Israeli plane, was slipping through the air using sophisticated sensors in its nose to record Israeli ground activity. The Phantom, itself a fast, high-flying aircraft, could only slowly approach the new Russian type as both aircraft climbed still higher. The occasion was the first aerial encounter between a Western pilot and one of the new Mark, but the experience was cut short. The Phantom was already straining at top speed to slowly catch the other plane, but the Foxbat was in no way near fully extended. In a matter of seconds, the plane accelerated away, leaving the Phantom floundering. Foxbat clearly had caught the West off guard. Here was a Soviet-built fighter capable of 3 times the speed of sound already in operation. The US had been contemplating the production of a fighter version of the Valkyrie, but this aircraft, the F-108 Rapier, never went beyond the mock-up stage. Had it gone into production, it would have utilized variable geometry on the jet engine intakes to maximize the aircraft's potential at all altitudes. Although the 108 was extensively tested and elaborate models were made, the project was cancelled without a prototype being built. Possibly one reason behind the demise of the Valkyrie and the Rapier was the fact that the US already had a Mach 3 fighter available to it and flying in the form of the YF-12.